It took me over 5 years to learn this, and I'm going to give it to you for less than 10 minutes, right? And that's the fact of the market. The market is going to do anything it wants regardless of what you do, right? So it means that you can do everything right and still lose, and you can do everything wrong and still make money. That's the iron of the market, right? Because it works on the principles of probability. It means that at any given time, anything can happen, like Mark Douglas put it, right? So it's all about long term, not short term. So if you focus on the short term, then you are doing yourself a disservice because you are denying the fact of the matter, which is consistency over a series of trades. And that's what becoming consistently profitable is. Anyone can make money on any individual trade, but it takes someone with a skill set to be able to consistently execute their strategy and still make money over time. And that's where consistency profitability comes from, right? So this week we had a very, very, very nice week, but it was a combination of good wins and not so good losses, right? Because that's how the market is, right? So you can take a perfect setup and that can still lose money on that particular trade. And that's the reason why I always say don't judge yourself on whether you're going to win or lose, right? Judge yourself on how well you executed your strategy. Did you follow all your rules? Did you follow all your trading plan? And if you did, regardless of the outcome of that individual trade, you won because you followed your rules. You can only lose if you don't follow your strategy. That's a definite loss right there. So as long as the setup met your criteria and you waited for everything and you executed that trade, unfortunately turned into be a loss, you actually won because you followed your rules. Why? Because that's the only thing that you have control over. You have no control over whether a trade is going to win or not. You have no control over that. That's outside your circle of control. However, what you have control over is how you identify your A plus setups, how you manage your risk, and how you manage the trade. And those are the things that you have control over. You have no control over whether the trade is going to go in your direction or not. So don't judge yourself based on the outcome of trades. Judge yourself on the process of identifying the setups and executing that setup and managing so well that even if it turned into be a loss, you executed your plan, and that's what counts in the market. And the moment you understand that, you are instantly going to actually start thinking like the 5% who are consistently profitable in the market, and like the 95% of traders who are losing money in the market on a consistent basis. So I'm going to show you this some of the charts right here. Guys, I've been trading this strategy for the past 5 years and I've been consistent with it. Of course, it has nice wins, but it also comes with nice losses as well. And that's part of the game. It's the yin and yang of trading. You can have the good minus the bad. However, it's about the cumulative outcome of your efforts, not on a trade by trade basis. And the sooner you understand that, the better. So I'm going to show you some of the trades right here. Let me actually first show you the summary of the trades for last week. As you can see from here, that we had a couple of trades that we took last week. So you can see that we had a lot, some greens and some reds, and unfortunately these reds actually followed each other, which can be really, really tricky because most people, when they experience this, they actually think of changing their strategy. But again, we had this series of wins, but just this series of wins alone are enough to be able, I mean, just one trade, one good win like this one with this 5-hour trade covers all these losses right here. How ironic is that? And then guess what? This becomes profit instantly, right? So you can see that right here we had a GBP trade, which was a break even. We had the first trade of the week, and then we had GBP USD trade, which was a loss, and then another one was a loss, and then followed by a nice win of 5-hour, and then a 6-hour win, and a 9-hour win, and this trade follows each other day by day. And then after that, we had a string of losses from USD card loss, GBP USD loss, gold loss, USD loss, and then GBP USD loss, and these were taken in the same day, right? And then the following day, Friday we had a nice trade which went almost like 5. I'm going to show you, and then ended up going break even. Crazy. And then we had a re-entry later on. Again, the market went in our direction, and then actually reversed, and then we were taken out at break even. And however, the most important thing is at the bottom right here. We were up 13R last week. Just in 1 week, we're up over 13R. And that's what is important. Not the outcome of every individual trade, but the outcome, the cumulative outcome of a series of trades. That's what is important. So forget about this noise. Your focus should be on the cumulative outcome of the trades right here. So let me show you the trades in our community right here. So this was the GBP USD trade that we beautiful setup. So what you're going to notice is that most of my setups are actually the same. They look very, very similar, and that's because we are trading a strategy that has been back tested and forward tested through fire, and it has proven to be profitable. And my job, and my only job, is to consistently look for this pattern in the market and execute, not give excuses when I lose, because I know that that's part of the game. A 5-hour losing streak is nothing, absolutely nothing, when it can be covered by one winning trade. So it doesn't bother me. So as long as the setup meets my criteria, I'm going to execute it because it's part of my plan. And the moment you fail to take a loss, the moment you fail to take a trade because you took a previous loss, and that's when you lose, because that next trade that you're actually avoiding might be the trade that actually saves you. And what's going to happen? You're going to regret it because you have missed out on a beautiful opportunity. So this was our 4 pip stop loss and that 69 pips target right here. You can see a very, very beautiful trade. Rally based drop supplies on the QML. We have nice liquidity, and you can see the market comes beautifully in our direction. You can know whether this trade is going to be a win or a loss because this meets my criteria. And what happened? This market actually ended up going in my direction. What a nice way to start a Monday. We saw the market beautifully going in our direction, and then we actually went break even at this level right there. And then what happens later on? The market actually reversed, and we were taken out at break even. And that's the first trade of the week. We were break even. Then later on, we took another sell on GBP USD because you can see that the first one we sold, the market came all the way here, and then guess what? The market started to reverse. And then once the market came to our level, I look at that as a confirmed entry. Now the market coming back after taking a break of structure, right? Guess what happened? We took a loss because the market ended up going all the way past my zone right here. You can see that after we entered, the market ended up going all the way, and that's how we lost that one right there. So after having a break even, we took a loss. And then because the market also came to this level right here, it decided to show signs of actually reacting to that level right there, and then wanting to drop, we took this trade. Guess what happened? We took a loss. So a break-even, loss, and then another loss. It happens, right? And if you look at this, these are very, very similar setups, and they meet all my criteria. And what happened after that? We took another trade on GBP USD. I think this is the following day. We took a trade on GBP USD, again meeting a nice, very, very nice, very similar setup. If you can actually look at it, very, very similar. Rally based drop, break of structure, liquidity, market comes into our zone, starts to react beautifully. And what do? We execute. Guess what? The market starts to move in our direction. We are all happy, and look at this, beautiful. The market is moving beautifully, and then we go break even. And that's a good part about our community. We're able to actually give you an update when to break even and when to move our stop loss where. And then guess what happens? The market kept on dropping, and at this particular point we had to lock in about a 3R by moving our stop loss somewhere at that level, at this level right here. We locked in about 3R so that we get paid regardless, right? And then guess what happened? I wasn't on the chart, but this particular time I actually went or checked on my phone. I saw that the market had dropped all the way. However, the market started to reverse. You can see that the market started to move aggressively against us, and that's how I was able to ask the community to get out with a 5R. And this market, by the way, went all the way like to a take profit. You can see that after we exited at this level, after we exited somewhere here, the market eventually came to our 3 hour. If we had just let it, we would have gotten with 3 hour. Then just did some crazy shit right here, and then guess what happens? The market eventually dropped the following day. And then when I woke up the following day, guess what happened? The market went exactly to our take profit as predicted. However, I wasn't able to actually get all this because we had actually gotten out with a 5 hour, and this market ended up going all the way to like maybe 13 hour somewhere there. And this is going to happen, and there's no way to actually predict this because this move right here would have gone all the way to the entry. So that's the reason why you have to find a way of paying yourself, either by trailing stop loss or by taking partial. So whatever you're comfortable with, do that. So this is what happened. So we got out with a 5 hour on this particular trade, and then the next trade we took was GBP/USD, a very, very nice buy. I think I made a video about this. You can see that the market eventually came into my zone. Right here we can see that we executed from here. Beautiful. The market had to move in our direction after we executed, and this was a 8 pip stop loss and a 100 pips target. Guess what happened? The market beautifully just went in our direction right here, and then we were able to ask the community to go break even. After that, we saw the market beautifully continue to move in our direction, and then guess what? We secured about 3 hour by moving our stop loss behind these structures right here. Why behind these structures? Because once the market breaks these structures, my assumption is that this trade is no longer going to the upside. So that's the reason why I had to move my stop loss here. So remember, a stop loss is supposed to help you invalidate a trading setup. And what happened after that? The market beautifully continued to move in our direction, and however, we saw the market start to reverse. And when I saw this, by you can see that the market broke this low, broke this low. Not a good sign. So end up exiting this trade with a 6R, which was very, very nice. And then guess what? Following day, we were able to take another beautiful trade on GBP/USD. So that was a second trade in a row, a win. And then we were able to execute another GBP/USD trade with a 7 pips stop loss and 105 pips target. Very, very similar setup. Drop based rally, liquidity right here, agent session taken out, comes into our area, we execute. Guess what happens? The market goes in our direction, and what do? We just wait for a break of structure. We move our stop loss to break even like clockwork, right? Because this is our system. And then we had CPI news in like 13 minutes, so I had to update the community right here. And after that, guess what happened? The market beautifully pumped to the upside with big momentum candles, and I made a video about this right here. Guess what? We secured about 4R by moving our stop loss just below here, because news can be crazy and you don't want to actually find yourself in a situation where you're up 10R and then the market comes to take you out at break even. That sucks right there. So what happened? I saw the market start to retrace on a massive level by reacting from this level right here. I was like, guys, let's not lose what we've gained. So we got out with about 9R, and guess what happened? The market ended up going all the way again to about 1 to 12R right there. But that wasn't easy. Look, so after we exited from this level, from here, the market dropped almost the whole move that it actually caused during CPI news, right? And then this will be very, very hard for you to actually stick to when you're in profit. So if you manage to do this, then congrats to you. However, the market end up going exactly as predicted. So if we held these two trades, would have been massively in profit right there. So the market eventually came to our level right there. And then the following day, what happened, guys? This is what happened. So we had a nice drop based rally, we broke structure, and then we had agent session being taken out right here. And guess what happens? The market beautifully came to our zone, and once we saw that, we executed. Unfortunately, this is where the losing streak started from. So you can see that the market ended up taking us out, and we lost on this particular trade by about 5 pips right there. And the next trade after that was GBP/USD. Again, another beautiful buy. You can see that I always wait for the Asian session to be taken out. So you can see we had a nice drop based rally, we had a QML, we had a high low break of structure, liquidity, Asian session taken out, comes into this level. I execute with how many pips stop loss? With about 7 pips stop loss and 76 pips target. We executed. Guess what happens? Beautiful setup. However, these two didn't work out because the market ended up going all the way through that, despite the market actually meeting all our criteria. It's going to happen. You have no way to actually predict it, so you just have to keep executing. So the next trade after that was gold right here, 23 pips stop loss and 550 pips target right there. Nice trade. We have a consolidation right here, which caused a rapid stop supply zone break of structure after agency seemed being taken out. Once the market pulls back here, I'm definitely taking this trade any time of the day. But guess what happens? This market ended up taking us out. We lost on this particular trade as well, like crazy. You can see that the market started to move against us and we were taken out. And then after that, what happened? We took another trade on USD. Very similar setup, rather best drop. The market came here hoping for that big move to actually happen during PPI news, and then the market just goes crazy to the upside and we are taken out. And the funny part is that the market actually went a bit in our direction, and then boom, the market goes against us and we were taken out. The next trade after that was a trade on GBP USD, again looking very nice. My typical setups, which works every time. Rally base drop, break of structure, nice liquidity, agency being taken out. The market comes and reacts nicely, we execute, and then the market goes against us and we lose out right here. The market just takes us out right there and we lose out on this beautiful setup. And like I've explained, these things are going to happen and there's no way to actually prevent this. So the next trade after that was again another beautiful trade on GBP USD. Drop a straddle break of structure, agency being taken out. The market beautifully comes into my zone, 6 pips stop loss and 104 pips target. We execute. Guess what happens? The market beautifully goes in our direction right here. This market actually went all the way to like 5R. We moved our stop loss to break even, and then guess what happened? Right here, the market returns and we get taken out at break even, and that was very sad because this market had gone about 5R in profit. You can see it went all the way to this level right here and then to come back. Of course, you would argue that I was supposed to have moved my stop loss somewhere, but I was kind of busy. I wasn't able to actually monitor this, and then unfortunately we ended up getting out at break even. And then the last trade of the day was which one? Right here we had this trade again, the same trade, right? So we, after the market went to the upside, came back, took us out at break even, and when the market comes back, this is what we call a confirmed entry. You can see that this is a nice drop ready, right? So this, the first entry right here was an aggressive entry based on confirmation on the lower time frame. See the reaction, then just execute, and then the market goes up, breaks a lot of structures, and when the market comes back to this level right here, for me that's a confirmed entry because the market now has broken the structure on the upside right there. And then when the market pulls back into this area, I'm supposed to take this particular trade according to my strategy, because now that's the market coming back for a confirmation. And then guess what? Like I predicted, the market does exactly that. It actually reacts to this level and pushes to the upside. And guess what we do? We actually go break even again right here. We go break even. And then guess what happens? The market comes back and takes us out right here. And the funny part about this is that the market just took us out at break even, and then goes just slightly below our level, and then guess what happens? It pushes over, let me just see, it pushes over 6R, right? You can see. So after we entered from here, the market goes in our direction and then drops just to take us out with this candle right there, and then guess what? It goes 6R in our direction without us. That's a summary of the week, right? It was crazy, but the most beautiful thing about it is that we were profitable and we followed our rules. Of course, this would have been a 12R, this would have been a 15R, this one would have been a 6R, and this would have been like an 18R. But like I said, you can do everything right and still make money, and you can lose money, and you can do everything wrong and still make money. It's not about judging yourself after a win or a loss. It's all about the cumulative results of your trades over a series of trades. And that's what consistent profitability is. And this is what your mentor doesn't show you, because they know, right? Most people won't show you the losing parts, they'll only show you when they're winning. Unfortunately, that's our industry right there. And yeah, this is how this week was. A beautiful week. And unfortunately, for those that joined during this losing streak, you would have looked at it like, this guy, but guess what? Just stay put. Trust me, trust the process, because we've been doing this for over 5 years, and it's all about executing, executing, and executing. At the end of the day, the outcome always takes care of itself right there. It's my hope that you actually found value in this video. And the only way you can know that you've actually found value is by liking, sharing, commenting in the comment section, and let me know that you've actually gotten something from this video right there. And if you'd like to get involved in our signals community, in our premium signals community, there's a link down in the description, my Telegram link. Check it out, get chatting with me. And if you'd like to learn the system that we use for our trading, the advanced quasi model strategy, if you'd like to learn this strategy, if you want mentorship, there'll be a link down in the description as well. All right, I really hope you found value in this video, and if you have, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment in the comment section. You guys, until next time, goodbye.